I'd like to share something that happened to me a few weeks ago. It's the kind of experience that stays with you, shaking your faith in the system, leaving you questioning the very people who are supposed to protect you. It started like any other day. I was walking back from the grocery store, nothing out of the ordinary. It was just me, a couple of bags of food in hand, and a long walk back home. It was mid-afternoon, the sun still high in the sky, and everything seemed calm. But within moments, that sense of calm was shattered. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you are listening. Your support means everything. Out of nowhere, a cop car pulls up. I'm used to the occasional cop driving by, but this was different. They didn't drive by. They slowed down and stopped right next to me. At first, I thought maybe they needed directions or were just passing through, but then one of the officers gets out. "Hey, you! Stop right there," he calls out. I'm not sure why, but I freeze. I don't do anything. Maybe it's the look in his eyes or the way his hand hovers near his weapon. It's something about the way he said it, aggressive, like I had already done something wrong. "Can I help you, officer?" I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. I've always been respectful when interacting with the police, even though I know that doesn't always guarantee a positive outcome. "Where are you headed?" He snaps, his voice sharp. "I'm just heading home," I reply, unsure of why he's questioning me. I didn't think anything about this interaction would lead anywhere. But then, another officer emerges from the car. She doesn't say anything, just stands there, scanning me up and down, like she's trying to find something to justify her next move. "Get over here," the first officer orders. Now, I'm starting to feel the tension in the air. I'm a black man in a mostly white neighborhood, and I can feel their eyes on me. I know this drill. It's not the first time I've been stopped. My heart starts pounding, and a lump forms in my throat. I've seen enough on the news to know where this could go. "Why are you stopping me?" I ask, trying to stay calm, but it comes out shakier than I intended. "We've got reports of suspicious activity in this area," the officer says. His words don't match the situation. I'm just walking down the street with grocery bags. What suspicious activity could he possibly be talking about? Suspicious activity? "I'm just walking home from the store," I say, trying to reason with him. Before I can say anything else, they start moving toward me. I don't know if it's because I'm black or because of something else, but it feels like they've already decided. "Put your hands on the car," the officer says firmly that I can feel my stomach drop. This isn't just a casual stop anymore. I know what's happening. They're about to search me, something I've had to endure before simply because of the color of my skin. I do as I'm told, placing my hands on the car, trying to keep it together. Then, just as I'm about to get patted down, the second officer speaks up. "Wait, is he?" She starts, but she doesn't finish a sentence. Her voice changes. Suddenly, there's a shift in the air. The officer who had been so aggressive toward me takes a step back. Sorry, sir," he says, looking flustered. Didn't know you were. I'm a U.S. Marshal," I say, cutting him off. The realization hits them in an instant. The tension that had been so thick a moment ago begins to dissolve. I can see the officer's expression change. It's one of embarrassment, maybe even guilt. They didn't know who I was, didn't know anything about me, and yet they had assumed that IT was racism in its purest form, prejudice without cause, driven by nothing more than the color of my skin. They didn't stop me because I was acting suspicious. They stopped me because, to them, I looked suspicious. And that's the problem. That's the weight we carry as black people in this country. It doesn't matter what you've accomplished or where you come from. All that matters is how you're perceived. The officers apologized profusely, their words stumbling over one another. But I could tell their apologies were only surface level. It wasn't just about me. It was about them, about how they saw the world, and how they treated people based on what they thought they knew. Point one of them, the woman officer, nervously asked if I was going to file a complaint. But to be honest, at that moment, I was too tired to care. I just wanted to go home. And I did, but that's the thing. You can't go through something like that and not feel changed. You can't go through that experience without realizing that, for all the progress we've made, the system still has a long way to go. That day, I learned that the badge doesn't protect you from racism. It doesn't shield you from people's biases, and it certainly doesn't stop you from becoming the target of someone's preconceptions. I was a US Marshal, a federal officer with authority, yet I was still treated like a criminal based on nothing more than the color of my skin. But the real twist? The part that shook me the most was how quickly the officers' attitudes changed when they realized who I was. It wasn't just the apology, it was the whole tone of the interaction. They went from seeing me as a threat to seeing me as someone they had to respect. But why? Was it because of my title? Or because they saw that I had the power to hold them accountable? And that's the part one can't shake. Because if they had never known I was a US Marshal, would they have treated me any differently? Would they have let me go so easily? I walked away from that encounter thinking about how many others don't have the same protection, the same leverage, the same title to offer them a bit of dignity. How many others are stopped every day, not because they've done anything wrong, but simply because of the way they look? I'm not sure what the answer is, but I do know one thing for certain. I'll never forget that moment, the one where a man's worth was questioned, his dignity stripped away, just because of the color of his skin. And the hardest part? It's that we are still fighting for the right to walk down the street without fear, to be treated with the same respect that others take for granted. The difference between me and so many others is that I get to walk away with a badge. But for so many, that's never enough.